Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram
Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Parampar Mati, whenever you're ready, you can start, Mati.
Okay, Prabhuji. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki. Hare Krishna. So today we are going to read from Canto 4, Chapter 1, text 36 to 47. So text 36. Pulastya begot in his wife Havirbu one son of the name Agastya, who in his next birth became Dagrahagni. Beside him, Pulastya begot another very great and saintly son, whose name was Vishrava. Text 37. Vishrava had two wives. The first wife was Ida Vidha, from whom Kuvera, the master of all Yakshas, was born, and the next wife named Kishinu, from whom three sons were born: Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and Vibhishana. Text 38. Gati, the wife of the sage Pulaha, gave birth to three sons named Karma Shrestha, Varian, and Shahishnu, and all of them were great sages. Text 39. Kratu's wife Kriya gave birth to 60,000 great sages named Valkilyas. All these sages were greatly advanced in spiritual knowledge, and their bodies were illuminated by such knowledge. Text 40. The great sage Vashishta begot in his wife Urja, sometime called Arundhati, 7 spotlessly great sages, headed by the sage named Chitraketu. Text 41. The names of these 7 sages are as follows: Chitraketu, Suruchi, Viraja, Mitra, Ulvana, and Vasuvridyana, and Dhuman. Some other very competent sons were born from Vashishta's other wife. Text 42. Chiti, wife of the sage Atharva, gave birth to a son named Ashwashira by accepting a great vow called Daidyancha. Now you may hear from me about the descendants of the sage Phrigu. Text 34. The sage Bhrigu was highly fortunate. His wife, known as Khyati, he begot he begot two sons named Dhata and Vidhata, and one daughter named Shri, who was very much devoted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 44. The sage Meru had two daughters named uh, Ay- Ayati and Nyati, whom he gave in charity to Dhyata and Vidhata. Ayati and Nyati gave birth to two sons, Markandeya and Prana. Text 45. From Markandeya Muni was born, and from Prana the sage Vedashira, whose son was Ushana Sukracharya, also known as Kavi. This Kavi also belonged to descendants of the Bhrigu dynasty. Text 46 and 47. My dear Vidura, the population of the universe was thus increased by the descendants of these sages and the daughters of Kardama. Anyone who hears the description of his dynasty with faith will be relieved from all sinful reactions. Another of Manu's daughters, known as Prasuti, married the son of Brahma named Daksha. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Krishna Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah, thank you so much, Madhi. Sundaracala Prabhu, you can start, Prabhu, whenever you're ready.
Okay, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Today we're going to discuss on fourth canto, first chapter, genealogical table of the daughters of Manu. Thank you, Parampavani Mataji, for reading today's translations. So we'll start with brief prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापतकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगण रघुनाथान्वितां तां सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादां सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। Yesterday, Krishna Venudas Prabhu covered until verse number 35. So today we will continue from verse number 36 and till 47. So the genealogical table, so far what was discussed as of yesterday is, we were discussing, we concluded Canto 3 a week ago, so which includes 33 chapters. So as part of Canto 3, it ended with Maitreya's description of Lord Kapil's teachings, and Canto 4 begins with Maitreya explaining about Swayambhu Manu's descendants. And the Devatuhuti, who is the one of the daughters of Swayambhu Manu, was covered in Canto 3, and her children, information about her children was also mentioned to some in the fourth canto. So Manu has three daughters, Devahuti, Akuti, and Prasuti. And Manu also has two sons, Uttanapada, Priyavrata. That will be discussed later. The explanation about the descendants of daughters of Devahuti and Kardama Muni were explained in this canto detailedly. And the descendants of Akuti was also explained. And if you see, today we will be primarily discussing about sons of Brahma, and when they wedded with 9 of the daughters of Kardama Muni and Devahuti. So these 9 daughters are so exalted that they have helped Brahma in his objective of expanding the creation, thus Visarga, which is secondary creation. So when Manu gave his daughter Akuti in marriage to Prajapati, what happened will be discussed primarily also. So I'll just refer to verse number 36. So Pulatsya begot in his wife Avirbhu, one son of the name Agatsya, and whose next birth became Dharagni. Besides him, Pulatsya got another very great saintly son whose name was Vishrava. So Pulatsya is one of the sons of Brahma who begot in the daughter of Devahut, Mother Devahuti and Kardama, and her name is Havirbhu. So she had one son named Agatsya Muni. Agatsya Muni is one of the popular character in Mahabharata. So it was mentioned here that he was in the next life becomes Daharagni, who is nothing but Jataragni, that means digestive fire. So besides him, Pulasya begot saintly son, that's the second son, and he begot a further a saintly son called Vishrava. Verse number 37. So Vishrava had two wives. The first wife was Iravida, and from whom Kuvera was born, who is master of Yakshas. And you can see next wife is called Keshini. So Keshini is actually second wife of Vishrava, who himself is a son of Pulatsya Muni and Havirbhu. So this from the second wife Keshi, Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and Vibhishana were born. As you might have heard in the third canto, Ravana and Kumbhakarna are Jaya and Vijayas descending into earth to actually, as a result of the curse given by the 4 Kumaras. So the Jaya and Vijaya initially have become Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, and now they have taken also a birth in the next life as Ravana and Kumbhakarna. So their father's name is Vishrava. So grandfather of Ravana Kumbhakarna is Brahmadev. So it is mentioned in the next verse, Gati, the wife of sage Pulaha. Pulaha is another sage whom one of the 9 daughters of Kardama Muni. So Gati got married to Pulaha, great sage, and he gave birth to 3 sons named Karmashrestha, Variyan, and Sahishnu, and all of them were great sages. So the Gati is actually 5th daughter of Kardama Muni, and she faithfully served her husband, and all her sons were as good as he. That means in terms of a transcendental position, so they are as good as directly the sage Pulaha himself. And it could be also implying the comment, actually it mentioned only he, it could be also Kardama Muni's level, we don't know clearly what exactly it is. So text 39. So text 39, Kratu's wife Kriya gave birth to 60,000 great sages. And so Kriya is actually sixth daughter of Kardama Muni, and she produced as many as she progenited as many as 60,000 sages, and they are all popularly known as Valakhilyas because they retired from family life as Vanaprasthas. So they all took Vanaprastha, and she's Kriya is a wife of Kratu. So that's about verse number 39. Verse number 40, great sage Vashishta. So Vashishta Muni begot in his wife Uraja, who is also known as Arundhati, and they begot 7 great sages who are headed by sage Chitraketu. So in which manvantara are these 7 sages is described in the, I think, next verse, or somewhere. I'm going to find out. It is names of text number 41. The names of 7 sages are described here. Chitraketu, Surochi, Viraja, Mitra, Ulbana, Vasubhrudyana, Juman. Some other very competent sons were also born of Vasishta's other wife. And from Vasishta's wife called Arundhati, who is also called Urja, 7 great sages were born. From the other wife of Vashishta Muni, there are some other very competent sons were also born. So next verse 42, Chitti, wife of sage Atharva, gave birth to a son named Ashwashira by accepting a great vow called Dadhyancha. Now you may hear from me about the descendants of great Bhru. So the wife of Atharva name is mentioned as Chitti, and she is also known, as Prabhupada says, as Shanti, and she was the 8th daughter of Kartama Muni. Verse number 43. Here, in verse number 43, we hear about one of the greatest dynasties called Bhrigu dynasty. So the sage Bhrigu was highly fortunate in his wife, known as Khyati. He begot 2 sons named Dhata and Vidhata. The daughter named Shri. So they have begotten 3 children. Two among those are Dhata and Vidhata. And the daughter is specifically highlighted as a devotee of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri. Her name is Shri. So Bhrigu's son called Vidhata and his descendants was described in verse number 44. The sage Meru had 2 daughters named Ayati and Niyati. So Meru daughter names is Ayati and Niyati, and Meru has given 2 of his daughters called Ayati and Niyati to Dhata and Vidhata, who are sons of Bhrigu Muni, and Khyati, whose mother is Khyati. So they gave in charity in marriage both their children Ayati and Niyati to Dhata and Vidhata. Ayati and Niyati gave birth to 2 sons called Murkanda and Prana. So son of Dhata is Mrukanda, whereas son of Vidhata is Prana. So we're going to see clearly what exactly is the relation there. Mrukanda, who is himself is a grandson of Brahma. So Mrukanda's son is Markandeya Muni, is mentioned in 45, text number 45. So Mrukanda's father is Meru, and Mukunda's mother is not mentioned, but Mukunda's father is Meru, and who is the mother side grandfather for Mrukanda is Bhrugumuni. So maternal grandfather. And Mrukanda's son is Markandeya Muni. And the other son called Prana, who is actually Vidhata's son. And Vidhata's father is Meru. So here, Prana, the sage, so Prana is the father of Mrukanda, and Markandeya Muni was born from Mukanda. So the grandfather of Markandeya Muni is Prana. Sage Vedashira has given birth to Sukracharya, who is also known as Ushana Kavi. In Bhagavad Gita also we might have heard that he is one of the opulences of Krishna. He's in one sense, in material sense. He is also described as Kavi. He's also known as Kavi. And Sukracharya is a guru of Daityas. And we will hear more in the further cantos about Sukracharya, especially Bali Maharaj's episode covers his guru is Sukracharya. So thus Kavi also belonged to the descendants of Bhrigu dynasty. Verse number, today's final two verses is 46 and 47. The population, my dear Vidura, the population of the universe was thus increased by the descendants of these sages and the daughters of Kardama. So here Falashruti was mentioned. Anyone who hears the description of this dynasty with faith will be relieved from all sinful reactions. Another of Manu's daughters, known as Prasuti, married to the son of Brahma named Daksha. So the third daughter of Swayambhu Manu and Shatarupa is Prasuti, apart from Devahuti and Akuti. Akuti we just discussed a little bit in the earlier verses. So Prasuti, who is actually one of the daughters of Kardama Muni, Swayambhu Manu and Shatarupa, married to Daksha, is one of the great progenitors under Brahma. And the pastimes of Lord Shiva and Sati will be further explained in the next few verses. So because Daksha is going to give birth to Mother Sati, and that is it for actually today's in terms of number of verses. We'll just discuss about overview what we have heard so far in first chapter of fourth canto. The Canto 3 ended with Maitreya's description of Lord Kapila's teachings. Canto 4 has begun with Maitreya describing Swayambhu Manu descendants. So, other than Devahuti and her children, Manu had three daughters, Devahuti, Akuti, and Prasuti. And Swayambhu Manu also had two sons called Priyavrata and Uttanapada. Maitreya Muni's descriptions will now center on So have centered on Manu's daughters and their children and their further descendants. So when Manu gave his daughter Akuti in marriage to Prajapati Ruchi, it was on the condition, we have heard this from Vishnu Venudas Prabhuji and before yesterday Chaitanya Chandra Prabhu, that on the condition that their firstborn son would be given to Manu to be brought up as his son. So that's how he gave Akuti in charity for marriage. So Manu knew that the Supreme Lord Yajna is a partial expansion. Along with Yajna's eternal consort, Lakshmi Devi would take birth as his grandchildren. That's why he actually wanted to have as his children. So that's why he actually immediately asked, he taken up as his own son, Yajna, who is Supreme Lord. So who indeed was incarnation of Lord, later assumed the position of Indra, and his children served him as the demigods known as Tushitas. So Swayambhu's so Yajna's children later served him in his cabinet of ruling the heavenly planet at Tushitas. They are also demigods. So further descendants of Devahuti and Kardama Muni were greatly detailed so far from verse number 11 to 47. Devahuti Kardama's Muni's 9 daughters married 9 sages. Anusuya, the first daughter, married with great sage Atri Muni and gave birth to the partial incarnations of Lord Brahma, Soma. So Lord Shiva's expansion is Durvasa, Lord Brahma's expansion is Soma, and Lord Vishnu's partial representation is Dattatreya. A second daughter, Shraddha, married Angira, and among their children was the learned scholar Bruhaspati, who is one of the, he is actually the spiritual master of the heavenly demigods. Havirbhu, a third daughter, married the sage Pulasya Muni. They had 2 sons. One of them is Saint Vaishrava, father of Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and Vibhishana, who is great devotee. Markandeya Muni was descended from Bhrigu Muni and his wife, actually as a grandson. Who was Kardama Muni's 7th daughter, also descending from Bhrigu was Sukracharya, the priest who led the demons. Many other exalted sages resulted from these marriages, and thus the population of universes increased. So that's what we discussed. And the benediction was also discussed. As you can see, this benediction is, however, material. Still, it is going to help us, with our devotional service. It is going to remove any material obstacles to perform our devotional service. So it is still beneficial. And you might have heard yesterday also, where before the book, verse number. So Atri Muni was actually when he saw the the 3 deities, Lord Shiva, Brahma, and Vishnu, he was unable to identify whom he called for, because he was expecting only one, but rather he actually 3 of them came instead of one when he called for Jagadisha. So as you can see in that, despite he is unclear whom he is addressing, Atri Muni, still Supreme Lord came. So if you compare that with Gajendra Moksha episode, Gajendra also addressed and called Supreme Lord. But Supreme Lord, he came, he himself came. No one else came. Actually, if you see, Gajendra's prayers were specifically and pointedly describing, glorifying Supreme Lord Vishnu, Krishna. Whereas, if you see Atri Muni, it could imply, as Prabhupada's purport says, it could imply either Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu or Karanodaka Sai Vishnu. It could imply one of the Guna avatars. So, since the Guna avatars, all of them were generically addressed, they all came. But why did Lord Vishnu also came? When is that his worship is pure enough to get Vishnu's darshan? If you see, it is mentioned by Prabhupada, because of the dedication, even it is they responded, the three deities, they have responded directly to Atri Muni, that this is the reason why we came, because of your determination. So the principle that we can learn, since we have additional time, and just adding that point, since you have a determination, we are pleased with you, and that's why I came. That's what all the three deities tell, including Vishnu. That means determination and sincerity to perform devotional service is going to give us perfect result, actually. So that is key compared to having direct darshan of Lord Krishna. More than that, the sincerity to perform the devotional service to please him is much important. That is the principle that we can learn from that. Thank you so much. And Kandara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Please let me know if I made any mistakes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Oh, thank you, bro. Thank you so much for a wonderful class, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.